It's time for another Big Bang Theory review, and today's episode is going to be Season 3, Episode 9, The Vengeance Formulation. Now, this episode starts off with Howard and Bernadette returning from a date. This is Bernadette's second appearance on the show, and already I think we're starting to get a little bit more of her characteristic traits that we would see later on, such as a higher-pitched voice than she used in the first appearance. Bernadette wants to know from Howard where he thinks their relationship is going, and Howard, of course, cracks the joke, saying he was at least hoping for second base. This gets a laugh out of Bernadette, but she is looking for more serious conversation. She feels they've reached their third date, and that usually means something. And much to Howard's surprise, to her that means that they were going to sleep together.
We do?
Sex.
You're kidding.
However, she wants to know if Howard is just looking for a one-night stand, or if he is looking for a serious relationship. Howard, of course, doesn't answer correctly right away, and then makes another joke asking if it's a either-or situation. And Bernadette tells him that he clearly needs more time, and tells him to take some time to think about it and get back to her. So for this night, Bernadette goes upstairs, and Howard leaves, still a little confused at the concept of a third date might have meant that they were going to sleep together.
3 dates means sex?
Which I get, Howard has had limited actual dating experience in his life, but you think he would have heard this concept through movies or television. Howard shows up at Leonard and Sheldon's apartment where the rest of the gang is hanging out, and they're curious why he's back from his date so soon. Howard says you always want to leave them wanting more, and Leonard clarifies that he struck out. Next, Leonard, Raj, and Howard are all having lunch in the school cafeteria, and Howard is asking them if they knew about this social convention about sleeping together after 3 dates. Raj said he's never had 3 dates with the same woman, and Leonard says that it took him 3 years with Penny, although now that he thought about it, that was 3 dates. And Howard is also trying to find out if Penny was looking for a similar commitment, like the one Bernadette was asking for, and Leonard pretty much says that's not the case for them. Sheldon joins the lunch and wants to change the topic to a topic that is about him, of course, but before he can share his exciting news, Barry Kripke comes over and spoils it for him, angering Sheldon, but only making it more enjoyable for Kripke.
Thank you, Kripke, for depriving me of the opportunity to share my news with my friends.
My pleasure.
And the news, it turns out, is that Sheldon's going to be on NPR to discuss some of his recent research. Kripke takes the opportunity to throw a few more jabs at Sheldon, and Kripke is, of course, one of those people that Sheldon has trouble coming back from.
Why are you such a stupid head?
So he tries to make a comeback, but it doesn't work, and eventually Kripke leaves. And the rest continue to talk about Sheldon's upcoming appearance. We next see the guys back at the apartment, and Sheldon has printed out the talking points for his upcoming appearance, and he wants to make sure that they are dumbed down enough for the audience, so he asks Howard to look them over, of course giving Howard an insult, and Howard is, of course, always insulted by this, and he's a little insecure about it because he's the only one in the group that doesn't have a PhD, but he does have a master's degree from MIT, which to Sheldon is still inferior, so he asks him to continue to look it over. Penny comes in and decides to play a joke on Raj, asking him to talk to her, and Raj has a shocked look on his face, and Penny says she was just kidding.
Yo, Raj, talk to me.
This was just to give us a little reminder that Raj is still suffering from his inability to speak to women. And we learned something else here. It has been a week since Howard talked to Bernadette after their conversation about making a commitment, and he has not called her back since, claiming that he's not sure if he's ready to commit because he's not sure if Bernadette is the type of girl who he would normally end up with. And Bernadette is a beautiful woman, although he seems to think not enough for him. He has some very unrealistic expectations for himself and lists some actresses who he thought he would end up with someone more like them, including Megan Fox from Transformers, Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica, and Halle Berry. So Howard clearly has no lack of confidence for himself, and we've seen that throughout the show, although he's had very little success. And Penny pretty much tells him that he should be happy that Bernadette wants to go out with him without charging him. And Howard basically says he doesn't want to settle like she settled for Leonard. Leonard gets hit with some unfortunate shrapnel in this episode, because even when Penny's defending him, she acknowledges that he's not the type of person that she would normally go out with physically, causing Leonard to wonder if they notice that he's still in the room.
I am here, right? You see me.
In this whole scene, Howard really does need a reality check. And scenes like this are a little odd, because he's trying to pretend that Bernadette, again, is not quite physically what he would be drawn to, but I don't know how that could be said, because it's not like Bernadette at all is a below-average woman in regards to appearance. And with Howard's lack of success with women throughout this show, you would think he has had 3 dates with this woman. He should count himself lucky that she hasn't headed for the hills yet. Next, it's time for Sheldon's interview. And we see Barry Kripke planning a prank. He has a helium tank, and he's run a tube into Sheldon's office, and he's turned it on. So as Sheldon begins his interview, and the room is slowly filling with helium, Sheldon's voice steadily begins to rise to a higher pitch, which Barry is broadcasting over the radio in the school cafeteria, giving everybody a good laugh, including Sheldon's friends, Raj, Leonard, and Howard. You would think one of them would have gone to warn Sheldon. Eventually, Sheldon sees the nozzle and tells Barry that he's going to get him.
Kripke, I found the nozzle.
We next see Howard in his bathtub having a disturbing fantasy of being in the tub with Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica. He does, however, to be struggling with the situation that's going on currently with Bernadette, as he has a debate back and forth with his own personal fantasy about the fact that he could be out with a real woman, Bernadette, instead of in a tub by himself. We next see Sheldon, who's very upset about the events of his interview, and of course he is. He feels humiliated. Leonard and Raj come in to seemingly try to make him feel better. At least Leonard is trying to. Raj said he's not there to make him feel better, he's there to mock.
I didn't come to help, I came to mock.
And just continues to crack jokes, and even throws Leonard under the bus a little bit, saying that he laughed at it too, and Leonard confirms that he did. But Leonard tells Sheldon that Kripke got him, but he can get him back. Sheldon doesn't seem too enthused by this at first, but starts to come around, but he goes too far in each direction. First in the direction of overkill, saying that he could poison Kripke, next in underkill, saying that he could put a whoopee cushion under his desk chair, and Leonard says they need to keep thinking about it. Howard decides that he made a mistake with Bernadette, so he decides to go to the Cheesecake Factory to see her. Penny says she's mad at him because he didn't call her all week, and Bernadette comes out and it seems that that is the case. And Howard tells her that he did think about what they talked about, and he decides to take it a step too far. Because after 3 dates, he decides the thing to do to commit to their relationship is to propose marriage. This understandably makes Bernadette uncomfortable, as she first thinks it's a joke and then realizes it's not, and thinks he's a little bit crazy.
Will you marry me?
So, like I said, he did go a little bit too far, but at least his head's getting into a better space that he's realizing that he was potentially passing up on a very good thing. Next we see Sheldon has come up with his plan for revenge on Kripke. He demonstrates for Leonard and Raj a chemical reaction that creates a warm foam. And he says he put a large quantity of these chemicals with a motion sensor trigger in the ceiling tiles above Kripke's office. And he has set up a webcam so they can view it happening. However, when they see Kripke entering his office, he's not alone. He is with the president of the university as well as members of the board of directors. It is worth noting here that it's a different actor playing the president of the university than before. So as Kripke is talking to this group, the foam does rain down from the ceiling, and a video that Sheldon had pre-set up plays on Kripke's computer, explaining that he did it to get revenge on him, and that it's being uploaded to YouTube, and he even names Leonard and Raj as accomplices.
Right here we have a micro-controlled plasma.
That's not going to go well for anybody. And we end the episode back at the Cheesecake Factory, where Howard has decided to try to make things up to Bernadette by manning the stage and singing her a song about how he's sorry for trying to propose too soon. And you would think this might just creep her out even more, but this oddly enough works for Bernadette, and she finds it a romantic gesture.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Are you kidding? That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever done for me.
Howard's been all over the place in this episode with Bernadette, but it seems like he is going to get another shot. And that is The Big Bang Theory, Season 3, Episode 9, The Vengeance Formulation. So again, we have two main focuses for the episode. First, Howard and Bernadette. We do see that they've continued to date multiple times, so Howard does seem interested in Bernadette. However, when faced with the possibility of commitment, he freaks out and just gets a little stupid. He's thinking in a very immature fashion and basically thinks he could find a woman that in his mind is more attractive than Bernadette, showing that he's thinking only of looks. And again, that's hard to me to fathom because Bernadette is a very attractive woman. So he hesitates getting back to Bernadette, and then that causes her to grow angry. And then when he tries to make it up, he goes too far in the wrong direction and wants to propose marriage. Which, of course, as it would anybody, freaks Bernadette out a little bit. But in a Howard-like gesture, he comes up with a plan, sings a song in front of a crowd of people, and you would think this might freak her out even more, but it has the opposite effect. She likes it, so it works out for them in the end of this episode. Howard really should not let this woman go because she is very tolerant of his peculiar behavior. And the other main focus is Sheldon and Barry Kripke. Their rivalry continues, and a very immature rivalry it is. They trade pranks in this episode, and Sheldon's prank is probably going to get him in some trouble because it affected the president of the university as well as the board of directors. However, Barry Kripke's prank realistically should have gotten him in trouble too, because what he did to Sheldon also made the university look bad. Really, it's just a tit-for-tat situation, and they both need to grow up. But it is always fun to see Sheldon trying to get the upper hand on one of these rivals that he just has trouble with. Overall, I think this is a very solid episode, and I would grade it at an 8 out of 10. Please let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comments section. What do you think about Bernadette at this early point in the show for her? And who do you think pulled off the better prank, Barry Kripke or Sheldon? Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and keep an eye out for my next video coming soon.